Well, hello, and welcome to Trash with a capital T, where we give trashy books and movies the love they truly deserve. Some deserve more than others. I'm your host, Bobby. New videos are posted every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you like what you see during the video, give me a like. It makes me feel good, helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, subscribe. You know, I always got new stuff coming out, and I got a pretty decent backlog already, so cool. So today, we're going to bring up one of my favorite topics to talk about with you guys, anxiety. But specifically, comfort material. I'm going to talk about one series that I go to for comfort when my anxiety is kind of reaching a peak. And sometimes it depends, different things will trigger it. In this case, it's a combination of reading a book that kind of bothered me. I read Haunting Adeline, and I didn't love the book. It didn't bother me. It's a very sleazy, smutty book. And I never realized how much that kind of content can weigh on me mentally. It wasn't always the case. It's just the older I get, the more I feel like that kind of over the top, kind of extreme content can punch me in the head a little bit, punch my brain out. On top of that, just normal health stuff. I finally had my first, well, you're over the age of 40, so we want to do this test to make sure everything's good. Conversation with my doctor, and everything's fine. Everything is fine. I don't have any big health anythings, but it's just one of those things where you have that weight, like you're not getting any younger, and things are getting a little more rusty around the edges. So, what happens when that anxiety creeps in and you find yourself needing comfort? And a lot of people find it from media. They'll find it from rewatching TV shows or movies. And for me, there is a universe, a world that I love to go back to. I have been a fan of this series since I was in 7th grade, since I got the first game for Christmas. One of the first games, because it was Pokemon Blue. Yes, I'm talking about Pokemon today. I have to. Pokemon has been such a big part of my growing up. It has been a part of my gaming history. It's been a part of my life. I'm literally, you can't see it because it's in a case. I can see my Pokemon figures over here. I have Pokemon plushies, which means I'm gay, according to certain videos on the internet. So, yay. I don't have to fall into the trap of heterosexuality. Thank you, Pokemon plushies. But it is one of those places that when I know my brain needs a reset, I can go back to it. And I fully immerse myself in it. I'll rewatch the cartoon, the anime. I will watch the movies. I'm not actually a huge fan of the manga. I've tried, and I don't dislike it. I get why people like it, because it is definitely a more mature storytelling take on the material, but for me the pacing on it is just kind of slow. But I get it. And then I also play the games. I've actually been playing. I went back to play Pokemon Shield because this is one I had picked up, and I made it. I want to say to like the 4th or 5th gym, and then I just gave it up. So I went back to this one. But the one that actually really I fell in love with is the one everybody hates. I mean, when this game came out, like foaming at the mouth, anger around it, and I get it. I'm not going to say I don't. I do get it. There's a reason I didn't buy it when it first came out, because technically this game came out completely busted. It looked, from the videos I saw, it looked terrible. So I waited until there were some updates and like I could be guaranteed that there were some fixes done to the game. That is Pokemon Scarlet. This game, I fell in love with this freaking game. This game, I became obsessed with this game. My team, I developed it. I was just dragged in. And I was thinking about it, and it's funny to me that with these games, I tend to reconnect with the series with the titles that everyone kind of hates. Like Pokemon Y was one of the ones that got me back in. I kind of fallen out, and I know everyone loves Black and White and Black and White 2. I kind of fallen out around Diamond and Pearl, so I didn't really connect with that one. And then Y came out, and I was like, I loved that game. And the same thing happened here. And going back to Shield, I'm enjoying it, but like this one, oh my god. And now we have a Switch 2 and I tried it on there and it looks absolutely beautiful. So if you were holding off because of all the graphical problems with this game, I definitely recommend if you have a Switch 2, try it on there. It really does help with a lot of the issues. But why? Why go back to a series like Pokemon? Why go back to something so childish? Um, and I think that's why. Because it's simple. It's something that I can connect to a happier time in my life. And I'm not saying this was universally happy, but when the first game came out, I was in seventh grade. I was like just entering my teen years, getting almost out of middle school, heading into high school. It was that last kind of youthful hurrah before you hit your teens. And a bunch of kids in my class who I normally weren't friends with, they all started playing it, so we all connected over it. And it was one of those things that I look back on it and it's one of those happy moments that just gives me a little bit of peace. And I remember I was telling my husband this because I did make him rewatch some of the cartoon with me. And I was so worried going back because I was like, oh God, are the voices gonna just grate on my nerves because Ash has that kind of specific kind of gravelly voice? No, I actually really like the voices watching it now. Rewatching it, I think the voice cast did a wonderful job. The material's a little cheesy, but I actually found myself laughing at it. But he noticed when I put on the first episode and I rewatched that first episode of the original anime series. I got this look on my face. And it just was because my brain went back to the first time I ever saw it. I remember waking up early. I had a little TV in my room. It was like one of those TV VCR combos that weighed like 100 pounds. And it had a little hookup so I could watch local TV. And I think I got some like local cable channels or something. But I remember waking up early to watch Pokemon. It was Pokemon and Mighty Max. And starting my day by watching that show. And it was then getting to school and standing in the gym before class and everyone just talking about that episode that day. And it's just one of those things where sometimes it's nice to just melt into a memory like that. So that is why Pokemon is one of those things. I actually have the same thing. We're going to go into two of them, I guess. That is why I have the same thing with Power Rangers. Power Rangers for me, when I was a kid, I was obsessed. And this is much younger than Pokemon. I was probably second, third grade. But I would rush home to watch every episode thinking it's the most amazing action adventure show ever. Watching it as an adult, it is, the original one is very cheesy. I still love it. And I watch it with the eyes of like, as a kid, I would adore this. These characters, Tommy and Zach and Kimberly and Trini. Oh. But that was actually one of the series early on in the pandemic that I found myself going back to because I needed something. And I remember reading an article about Dino Fury introducing a queer character. And I needed something. I needed it. It was the pandemic. Everything was going on. Kurt and I had just lost our dog Crystal, and I needed something to pull me back. And I started watching Dino Fury. And that show did exactly what I needed it to do. It reminded me of that feeling of being a kid and rushing home and being excited to watch something, to experience something. And then when that happened, while I was watching that, we got another puppy. We got Mochi. And the funniest thing was every time during that first season of Dino Fury, every time the Pink Ranger came on, Mochi's eyes locked on the screen, which is really interesting because dogs I don't think see pink. That's not one of the colors they can process. But when the Pink Ranger was on, she was just wide-eyed and staring at the TV. She loved the Pink Ranger, which is very funny because it's a little corgi puppy who's just sitting there just, yeah. And then we watched Jungle Fury. And that was something my husband and I were able to bond over, and the goofiness of it. And yes, there was some camp to it. But it's one of those comfort shows that I can go to and I know the lore and I can fall into it. And it gives you that kind of mental peace that nothing else can. And people, sometimes it's also movies like Return to Oz, Neverending Story, those types of things. With those shows, because of the experience of feeling that almost cultural moment with those shows and those games and with with Pokemon, and it just connects you to a specific time and place that even if other stuff was going on at that time that was not great, and of course there's always times when that happens, those good moments, those good memories just come back and kind of calm you, and they give you that bit of peace. And I mean, I'm just, and I know I'm not the only one like this. Millennials, apparently, we are the nostalgic generation. We clamor for that stuff, and I'm kind of curious as to why. It could just be because since we hit adulthood, things have just been feeling they've been going downhill ever since. Um, yeah, possibly. But I mean, I even saw it with my dad. My dad is in his 70s now, and when he was not much older than I am, probably. Well, he's probably in his 50s or his 60s at the time. But going back and rewatching the old the Flash Gordon serials that they used to show, we had those on VHS, and seeing him reconnect with it, or finding he had a stuffed Smokey the Bear doll when he was a kid, and he found one on eBay and he got it, and he had that thing for years. I don't think he has it anymore. It might have. My parents had a house fire. No one tells, like, you never expect it, but like house fires just destroy memories, like physical mementos, like yearbooks, all that stuff. And I hope, I can't remember if that thing survived or not. But he did the same thing, and I think there's just something, especially once you start to hit what most people would call middle age, in your 40s, where you just clamor for some of that youthful exuberance, because it gets kind of beaten out of you by the world. Especially by younger generations. You guys can be a little cruel when it comes to calling people cringe for liking stuff or being overly excited about stuff. And I get it. It's embarrassing, especially if it's your parents. But I always say embrace the cringe. I can't. I'm too old. I'm too tired to let people police how I talk or what I enjoy. And I don't think that's everybody. I have a stepson. He is amazing and awesome, and I have been able to bond with him over stuff, over geeky stuff, and Pokemon actually specifically. And I know he appreciates it, and I appreciate it too. It's one of the things we're connected over. Probably another reason why Pokemon has been one of those important things for me, because when I first moved in and I would be spending time with my stepson, he's an adult now. He's off on his own and living his life, and every time I talk to him, he seems to be having a blast. So, but one of the things we would do when the Pokemon games would come out, my husband, my stepson, and I would all get a copy of one of the games, and we would just play for days. And that was what we did, and we connected over it. And we would trade, we would talk Pokemon, and it was something that brought us together, and it helped me create a bond with my stepson. I love my stepson dearly. He is an amazing, amazing young man, and I am so happy with the person he grew up to be. And having something that we could share that we both grew up with at different points, but we both grew up with, was one of the things that helped us connect. So that's why going back to things like Pokemon and Power Rangers and stuff like that is kind of that like warm blanket effect. Sorry for getting so emotional. Fuck it. No, I'm not. I'm not sorry. It's good to kind of let this stuff out sometimes and look back on the stuff. And now these aren't sad tears. These are just happy tears, remembering sitting in our old apartment and playing Pokemon Sun and Moon together, and just spending that time with my husband and my stepson, and just enjoying it, just finding the joy in those moments. Well, this is a rambly video, but I think it has a purpose. So Because one of the things I've always talked about on here is mental health and the way we interact with media with mental health. I've always kind of tried to include it, although I think I've kind of fallen away with that. But I wanted to bring that back just because that's what I've been going through now. My brain needed something. It needed that warm blanket after kind of everything that's going on. And also, I mean, the world's a dumpster fire. I'm filming this February, February 23rd. Like, sometimes you need that. You need that reconnection to something wholesome, to your family, to the people you love, to the times that you felt safe and protected. So, my call to you, in the comments, let me know what it is. Let me know what yours are. Share them with people, because who knows, you might find someone out there who has the same thing, and it's some way you can connect with another person. That's actually one of the cool things about a lot of these like moments, these I hate saying IPs, but it is true. These characters, these stories, these everything. Is there things that we can connect with together as people? And you get to geek out about it and have fun and not worry about the other person talking to you, judging you, because they love it too. They enjoy it. What is that thing for you? And sometimes some people have weird ones. For a while, my brother, his like fuzzy blanket media was the movie Goodfellas, because my dad loved that movie. We watched it all the time in our household. Not growing up, but when we were older, we were adults. But watched it all the time. And for him, that was something he just would go back to. No judgment. I get why. For me, it's not, but I get why. So I'm interested. What are some of your comforts? What are some of your warm blanket media choices? Is it a book, a movie, a TV show, a video game? Let me know. All right, sirens are going off in the background, so I'm going to wrap this up here. And just do the housekeeping. New videos posted here every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Sorry for being all emotional. If you liked what you saw, give me a like. Makes me feel good, helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, subscribe. And as I always say, or try to always say, if I remember to do my outro correctly, love what you love, enjoy what you're reading and watching, and have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.